You're pregnant. The nurse's words echoed in Titi's head like a bad dream. She stared at the nurse, mouth agape, heart pounding. Pregnant? How? The day had started like any other, except for the sharp pain in her stomach that wouldn't let her sleep through the night. She had woken up feeling weak, but exams were going on and missing school wasn't an option. Her father, always in a rush to get to work, had barely noticed her discomfort. He was a hard-working man raising Titi on his own, and though he tried his best, he often didn't have time to check in on her. "Are you okay, Titi?" her classmate Amaka had asked when Titi dragged herself into the classroom, looking pale and clutching her stomach. "I'll be fine," Titi mumbled, forcing a smile. She thought it was something small, maybe something she ate or just stress from studying late. But as the hours passed, the pain grew worse. Titi could barely focus on her exam paper. The words blurred, her hand trembled, and her head felt heavy. She rested her head on the desk, hoping it would ease the pain, but it didn't. "Titi, what's wrong?" Amaka whispered again, concern etched on her face. Before Titi could answer, her vision went dark. When she came to, she was lying on a bed in the school clinic. The bright fluorescent light stung her eyes. She tried to sit up, but the pain in her stomach made her wince. The nurse was standing beside her, arms crossed, looking serious. "Titi, you collapsed in class. What's going on with you?" "I don't know, Ma," Titi replied weakly. "My stomach hurts so much. I've never felt like this before." The nurse gave her a once-over and asked a few questions. Titi answered as best as she could, still unsure what was happening. After a while, the nurse's face changed. She looked concerned but also stern. "Titi," the nurse began, her voice low, "you're pregnant." Titi blinked, thinking she'd heard wrong. "What? No, that's not possible. I can't be pregnant." The nurse raised an eyebrow. "Are you saying you didn't do anything? Tell me the truth. These things don't just happen." Titi's mind raced. The only thing she could think of was last weekend when her friends dared her to kiss Bode during a silly game. It was a quick peck just for fun. She had laughed it off, thinking it was harmless. But now, could this be connected? "I swear, Ma," Titi said, her voice shaking. I didn't do anything like that. I only kissed someone during a bet." The nurse looked skeptical. "Kiss someone? Titi, pregnancy doesn't come from a kiss. Are you sure you're telling me the whole truth?" Titi nodded desperately, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I'm not lying. It was just a kiss, I promise." But the nurse didn't seem convinced. "Well, you're pregnant. That's the fact. You need to take this seriously and tell your father." Titi felt like the room was spinning. Pregnant? Her stomach churned, and she wasn't sure if it was from the pain or the panic. How could this be happening? What would her father say? What would the school do? She buried her face in her hands, wishing she could wake up from this nightmare. But the pain in her stomach reminded her that this was very real. The news spread faster than harmattan wind. By the time Titi returned to class, everyone was whispering. Heads turned, eyes widened, and some classmates even pointed at her when they thought she wasn't looking. It felt like the walls were closing in on her. "Titi, is it true?" Amaka whispered, her face full of disbelief. "Please, I don't want to talk about it," Titi replied, her voice shaky. She couldn't deal with the questions, the judgment, or the pity. The day dragged on, and so did the pain in her stomach. She barely got through her second exam paper, her mind spinning with fear and confusion. When the school bell rang, summoning everyone for the end-of-day assembly, TT wanted to disappear. But before she could sneak out of class, two prefects appeared. "TT, the principal wants to see you." "Now," one of them said firmly. Her heart sank. The moment she dreaded was here. When she stepped into the principal's office, her father was already there, sitting stiffly in one of the wooden chairs. His usually composed face was tight with worry. He looked up when TT entered and she couldn't meet his eyes. The principal, a tall woman with sharp eyes and a voice that could silence a room, gestured for TT to sit. "TT, this is a serious matter," she began, her tone calm but firm. "We've been informed about your condition and we need answers." TT swallowed hard, her hands trembling. "Ma, I don't know how this happened. I swear I don't." The principal raised a brow. "Don't insult my intelligence, young lady. You don't know how. Do you expect us to believe that?" "Please, Ma," her father interrupted, his voice steady but pleading. "My daughter is a good girl. There must be some mistake. Let her explain." The principal sighed and leaned back in her chair. "Fine. TT, tell us exactly what happened. Who is responsible?" TT's eyes darted between her father and the principal. She felt trapped like a cornered animal. "I didn't do anything, Ma. I only kissed someone during a bet with my friends. That's all." The principal's jaw tightened. "You kissed someone? And you expect me to believe that's all you did? Kisses don't lead to pregnancy, TT. Tell us the truth." "I am telling the truth," TT cried, tears streaming down her face. "It was just a stupid game. I didn't do anything else. I don't even understand how this is happening." The principal shook her head, clearly unconvinced. "If you won't admit the truth, there are consequences. You're not just a student, TT. You're an example to others. If we let this slide, what message does that send to the rest of the school?" "Please, Ma," her father said again, his voice breaking slightly. "Let her finish her exams. She's worked so hard. I'll make sure she takes full responsibility after that." The principal tapped her fingers on the desk, deep in thought. After what felt like an eternity, she spoke. "Fine. TT will be allowed to finish her exams. But after that she will be expelled, along with every student involved in this so-called bet. This behavior cannot be tolerated." TT's heart sank. Expelled. Her dreams of completing school, of making her father proud, were slipping away. As they left the office, her father put a hand on her shoulder. "TT, I don't know what's going on, but you have to focus on finishing your exams. We'll figure this out later." But how could she focus? Everywhere she went, the whispers followed her. Friends turned their backs. Teachers gave her disapproving looks, and even Bode, the boy she'd kissed, refused to talk to her. By the time exams ended, the principal's decision was final. TT, Bode, and the other students involved in the bet were expelled. Her father pleaded one last time, but the principal wouldn't budge. "TT, you need to take this as a lesson," the principal said sternly. "Actions have consequences. You may not see it now, but one day you'll understand why we had to make this decision." As TT walked out of the school gates for the last time, she felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. She had so many questions, so much confusion, and no one seemed to have the answers. All she knew was that her life would never be the same again. The story teaches us that actions, no matter how small, can have unexpected consequences. Honesty and responsibility are crucial in navigating life's challenges. Titi's story became the talk of the town, a cautionary tale for other students. Some believed her, others didn't, but everyone agreed on one thing. Her life had taken a turn no one could have predicted. Now, dear listener, what do you think? Did Titi deserve what happened to her? Was the principal right to expel her and the others? Or could this have been handled differently? Share your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and until next story, stay motivated.